I've managed to catch up with Paul Coleman. He's an XP Deus user and he's had a bit of luck recently. So Paul, tell me about your bit of luck you've had.
It was a little bit of luck, wasn't it? Yeah, just a little bit. What 5,251 and a half Saxon, late Saxon coins, late Saxon pennies, in absolutely pristine mint condition, basically unheard of. Yeah, that's what you call a bit of luck, I suppose.
You're using a Deus, so how long have you been using it and why did you choose a Deus?
I've had my Deus for about 3 years. About 3 years now. I did choose the Deus for a very specific reason. The Deus was always sort of on my shopping list anyway, but it was something I hoped to have one day. But I did have a specific reason for getting it. When I did, I found a bit of land that I got permission on with lots of Roman pottery on it. So I started detecting with the machines I had then, and found they just weren't really getting the best out of it. There was just so much iron infestation that I wasn't getting anywhere. That's when I thought I'd seen all these people showing off their skills with the Deus and everything, and I thought I've seen they're so good it almost looks like tricks, but I now know they're not. That how close things can be to iron, and you just don't miss them. So that there was only really one choice. I bought the Deus specifically for this one site, knowing that it was gonna be really productive, and I wasn't wrong. I really wasn't wrong. I was finding some nice things, but immediately I was getting sort of 150% more items from what would have been really a very difficult field to work on.
So brilliant, it started producing straight away.
Right away, immediately. But then I knew the site was good, I knew the machine was good. What else could you do? I just knew it was going to happen that way.
So Paul, tell me, when you started using the Deus for the first time, what programs did you use compared to the programs you're using now?
One of the good things about a machine that you've chosen to use, one of the things that you would look for is being able to switch it on and work with it right away. And I knew that there's several programs in the Deus which you could start working with straight away, rather than trying to learn the complexities of how to work out your own program. It's firstly important to understand how the machine will do what you need it to do from the word go. So I chose literally just basic one as a first step to learn. The important thing is to learn what the machine is telling you before you then try and change how you want it to change what it's telling you. So you understand that first. And I found it to be just really everything I needed without having to touch it at all. And to be honest with you, I'm still actually using basic one now. I found the hoard with basic one.
Really?
Didn't if it isn't broke, why would I want to fix it?
So that's a lesson for everyone. Basic one does the job.
Obviously you can be very specific about certain sites, but I think you've really got to understand your machine. The last thing you want to do is start altering something because you feel like you can, not because it needs to, and then find out you're actually making things worse, not better. Learn the machine, learn what the machine is telling you. If you need to alter something for a specific site and you've took the time to learn it, you've got much more chance of getting it right. And the machine will let you do that. That machine will let you do that.
Has the Deus transformed your detecting at all?
I think it has. The fines rate certainly's gone up. There's no doubt about that. The sensitivity also means that the fines sizes has also gone down. So I'm finding cut quarters and things much more easily than I ever would have done in the past. You can find a cut quarter with some depth as opposed to just laying on the surface as well. You never could have got that before. I think the general depth is also giving you an increase in the fines rate. Certainly the fact that you can find good fines in amongst the trash, that helps as well. So overall it's made I'd say a huge difference to my detecting fine rates. Yeah, absolutely.
So what future developments would you like to see coming from the XP camp?
I think there's room for maybe another coil. The 9-inch coil I find really good on trashy sites like I've mentioned, but there are some places, and that works well because the trash is underground. There are some sites where the trash is on the surface, and most coils would struggle in that case. Something like maybe, you know, a very small coil which will go between those, you know, foreshores, river foreshores and things like that, where basically the trash is almost against touching the coil. So a very tiny coil, maybe
5 inch, something like
maybe
a
5 inch or something like that. Yeah, where you can really get between the rubbish. A hoard hunter. Not necessarily because you want to go looking for hoards, because sometimes some things are just you just know the type of ground you're on. The stuff's going to be just so deep, and you could do with, although you may lose a bit of sensitivity, it'd be great if you could keep the sensitivity, but just to know that you're getting maybe a search for whatever in the layer that the artifacts might be in. You know, if they're above 18 inches down or something, you just need something a little bit extra special to get to them. So yeah, maybe something like a hoard hunter. There's always an added bonus as well. You just might find a hoard.
Tell the folks out there about your big day, the hoard. Where do we start? Why would you want to drive 100 miles to an organised dig? How did you feel on the day?
It was a bit of a distance, yeah, we did think that. Because you don't know anything's going to happen, you just see it as another normal detecting day. And 200 mile round trip, do you really want to go all that way just to get a few buckles and a few buttons? It was Christmas. Christmas weekend wonders, you meet up with lots of people that you don't see very often. It's been a good social day. So yeah, we decided after other events, which I'm sure most people would know about now, we decided, yeah, we'll go on and we'll go. We will go, yeah. Of course, in hindsight, what a decision that was. We turned up just exactly the same way we do every other week. We turned up. Weekend Wonders organises things quite well. They had a lovely big aerial photograph of the whole farm, and you could see signs of history in those photographs. We chose that field particularly because of those particular marks in the field. The field, however, didn't turn out to be quite as good as we imagined it was going to, until obviously this happened. It was quite a quiet field. The point at which we find was made, we decided already to leave the field. It just wasn't worth staying in. There was just so few finds. We turned to walk towards the gate to leave, but as you normally do, you detect on the way out, don't you? You never miss an opportunity, just in case. And literally, as soon as the decision was made and we turned to walk towards the gate, that was my very next signal. The manhole cover.
Wow.
It was like a manhole. The signal was just really, really huge, and I just envisaged a manhole cover, really.
Did you think it was iron?
When most detectors, when a large lump of iron is under the detector, it gives a positive signal. They nearly all do, virtually always. The Deus is a bit different. Once you start digging, it can analyse and look at the item a little bit closer. So normally, once you turn the sod over and you remove a bit of soil, you get a better picture of what the item is. This didn't happen with the Deus. It kept telling me it was a good signal. It just kept going. Good signal all the way. And it was deep. And it was deep. It really was deep. It was over 2 foot deep. But the signal on the surface was literally like it could have been a manhole cover 6 inches down. That was the sort of size of the signal. So I suppose in that respect, maybe I do already have a hoard hunter.
Yeah, very true. Yeah, very true. So did you have a guardian angel with you on the day?
Yeah, it's funny about this. There's certain occasions, like I said, in your life, when you have a particularly good day, you could almost every single time say, I had a good feeling about that day. There was just something about it beforehand, which you could never really state beforehand, I am going to have a good day. But you can certainly say afterwards, I had a feeling that was going to be a good day.
Yeah.
And I think this is just one of those days, and I mean that most sincerely. I've had quite a few red letter days, and there was always something about the start of that day which said this was going to be a good day, but you didn't realise it until after it turned out to be a good day. This is certainly one of those days.
Did you feel calm? Did you feel buzzing?
No, I felt really calm. I felt absolutely calm. It was almost like it was inevitable. My brain knew it was inevitable, but my conscience didn't.
Wow.
And there was just a sense of calm came over me. People imagine that you jump up and down and you wave your arms about and you shout all your mates over. And it doesn't feel like that. Well, the first thing that happens is just a sense of relief. It's almost like I was looking for that find for the 40 years I've been detected, and I can relax now because I found it. Do you know, it's almost that sensation. Of course, as the day wears on, it's everybody else's excitement which then gets you excited. You know, because they get excited and they almost jump up and down, and they can't understand why you're not. And it's that excitement which eventually at the end of the day permeates right through you, and you end up excited. But that's not how it starts. No.
So when did it actually sink in then? When you got home or on the way back?
It still hasn't. It
Really?
still hasn't. Went to the British Museum yesterday and we got to play with them. We got to pick them up and handle them and touch them, all nice and clean and shiny, and it still feels like I'm watching a good film. It still feels like I'm enjoying someone else's good luck. It doesn't feel like it's mine. It'll obviously become real when the wife starts spending, my reward. But up until then, it just seems like it's happening to somebody else still. It's just so surreal.
So there you go, folks out there. There's hope for all of us. We've just got to wait 40 years for it. Well, it's been a great little interview, Paul. Thank you very much for your time.
Yeah, my pleasure.
Before we go, is there any advice you could give to detectorists in general?
Yeah, I think it doesn't matter who you are and how you detect or how much time you spend doing it. There's a very important lesson for everybody, and that is you've invested an awful lot of time in your hobby and certainly expense in your hobby. Why would you give up on it so easily? If your machine is telling you and you trust it, go with it. Don't give up on a signal just because it may appear too deep. You, like I said, you invest a lot of time and money in your hobby. Learn the equipment. The equipment will get you right every single time. Invest time and effort in learning it. Don't give up on it. You get a good signal until you know better, until you see that rust, or until you've dug up that hoard. Don't give up on it.
Brilliant. Well, thanks very much for your time. I'd like to shake your hand on behalf of me and the guys over at XP. I'm sure they're going to love this interview.
Thank you.
And thanks for using the XP products.
It's my pleasure.